And what is up, Valhallen? We're back again. It is Overwatch semifinals. I am, of course, Coach Kyle. I am joined in the booth by Coach Maddie. How you doing, Coach Maddie?
I'm doing well tonight. I'm very excited to see this game go down.
Me too. We are back. We know that you missed us all last week. Obviously, I am the greatest let's call him the greatest Heimerdinger. I am the greatest Reinhardt main of all time. It's why they brought me here in the casting booth, and I'm very excited to be talking about this. We saw some great gameplay the last time that you and I stepped into the booth. I'm really excited because one of the things that we mentioned all the time, and it's something that came up in the player-to-player interviews, was how much positioning mattered. And it looks like we are literally about ready to jump in, I'm so excited. I'm wondering how much positioning is going to matter this time, Coach Maddie. What do you think?
Positioning always matters. So no matter what game you're playing, your positioning throughout the game is always going to matter. Typically, positioning is also like the make or break of the game most of the time. Well, if you're one person out of position, can kind of fall apart.
Yeah.
Make it all fall apart.
Absolutely. And that's my issue was last time we got to watch the enemy team sort of run rampant with the positioning that they were able to do. But it looks like we're in right now. Penguin playing Sombra. We saw a lot of great plays from Penguin last game with Sombra. The big issue with this one is our team going to be able to stick together and take those engagements as a group? That was one of the big weaknesses last time that we had this. I'm excited to see it. Maddie, what are you looking for this map, for this matchup, for this team?
Well, so far with this team, I am definitely seeing like a very heavy, like kind of charge in, very dive focused. So I'm hoping that maybe this like aggression that they're going to be having, especially by like this point, because the point is like so caved in, surrounded by the high ground. If they're able to take over all of this high ground very easily in the beginning, this could pretty much just be a very easy point for them.
Yep, and it's interesting right here. We see Lamone sort of make the initial engagement, trying to force that Diva back off the point, doing exactly what we were talking about, but it looks like he's getting poked down pretty hard by this. This is one of the things, especially with this map, that I've noticed is that players tend to come in through those angles and just kind of hit from different places. It really can have a bigger impact on like tanks and other people. Oh, looks like the Diva's making the dive.
Ooh, this is a nice save from that Kiriko right there.
Great Kiriko save. It was something you talked about last game. Yep, capturing the point. But again, Aris is doing a great job contesting. Supports are still on them. This is like a night and day difference from the last game that we saw. The team sticking together, sort of letting everybody sort of work their way through. A Sombra hack, that's a big deal, losing the access to Lamone. Some of Oris's abilities sort of keep him alive, but it looks like the team is sticking together, which is fantastic.
It's like, unfortunately, they're getting picked off one by one by the enemy team's DPS. That Sombra and that Tracer is really good about just getting into that back line, getting the kill, and then getting out.
It was. And again, this is something we saw from last game, but Lamone is really good at that sort of fighting retreat. Which is, again, sort of a brutal way to lose that engagement. But, I mean, not a whole lot we can do about that when they sort of press in the way that they did.
With how they're playing, they're definitely, like, you can see major improvement already so far, especially with, like, how they aren't over, like, extending or anything so far. They're doing really well about staying in a group.
Yep.
It's just the enemy team so far is just doing...
Penguin's a little overextended.
A little good.
So we say...
right as we say it.
Don't overextend, and then you overextend. But, I mean, you're right, though. This is much better. This is a much better group composition than last time. It's so funny. Obviously, the people at home can't hear this, but hearing the players in the background just going, don't overextend. It's like they can hear us, which is pretty great.
The Diva pushing past there and getting that Juno is not very good.
Nope.
But they might be able to make it through with this Curie if this Curie is able to keep their team up.
Yeah, and again, this is one of the things that we noticed last game, but the play between Lamone and their support is just absolutely spectacular, and it's fantastic to watch. Landon, who plays Lamone's actual player name, does a great job of really interjecting himself into those situations, and you can see it right here. Sort of thrusts in, but doesn't overextend, just sort of buys himself enough time and enough ground to let the team kind of fall in around him. And this was something we saw last game. It just wasn't happening quite like that, but it's happening this game, which is really great. Oh, nice big coming in there from Archon.
It looks like they're just doing a much better job overall. That is a very good Mei wall, especially with that Juno ult. Ooh, wonderful Juno ult.
That's great.
Ooh, that was a wonderful ult combination right there, though, especially with that Mei wall keeping them trapped there so that Orisa can ult inside the Juno ult to get that damage boost and that healing that she needed to stay up. Unfortunately, it looks like that may not be enough for them.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I mean, again, this feels very, very like a very, very strong start. Obviously, objective failed is not how you want to start any of these matches off, but I mean, already it's looking like we're seeing a little bit more cohesion, a little bit more team fighting, and a little bit more stick-togetherness. And that's kind of the stuff that we'd love to see a part of the game. Now, one of the things for our friends at home who might not understand Overwatch or who might be new to Overwatch, what's the importance of sort of combining those ults, Maddie?
So with certain ults in this game, I'll take Juno ult for example. If you combine that with other ults, like an Orisa ult, like we just saw on that last point, the way Juno ult works is there's that beam that comes down, and it gives your team a damage boost, and healing. So it's pretty much like having a Mercy on you as a pocket.
Okay.
With the Orisa ult, as you saw, it pulls them in, and then it does damage. And of course, as I was talking about that damage boost, if you have that Juno ult on you while you're using that Orisa ult that damages other foes and everything, that damage is going to be increased and will let out
So it's
very
essentially
quick elimination.
Essentially they're pulling everybody into an area that's really advantageous for us, which is great. And again, starting about an area that's advantageous for us, I love the way that our Lucio is sort of maintaining that cover. And again, we see Lamone coming in right there with a strong engagement, which is great. Enemy team is scattered. Okay, yep, we got to pick it off, but we can't.
I do like seeing this Ramatra here.
Yes, I was about to say, we saw Lamone's Ramatra last time that you and I casted, and that was a pretty fantastic introduction to this particular tank. It's one of the things that I think serves this team well, is our team seems to do really well when we get a chance to poke, make some small engagements, and then sort of make the engagement, make the fight from there, right? We want to sort of harass them and harry them a little bit from the edges, and then go in. Oh, again, D.Va overextends there, but again, starts getting some damage. Again, the rest of the team's coming in. The backliners is just absolutely brutal for the damage on our team, though. Our Tracer almost immediately getting picked off, but we're gonna hope for the other
Tracer
engagement.
is playing very smart here, though.
Yes,
they are taking their fights whenever they need to, and not overextending and going in with a 1v2 or like a 3v1 situation or anything like that. They're playing very smart with how they're positioned, and they're blinking back to safety. They're blinking into cover a lot better than I think we saw the previous game.
And something that I think newer or maybe more inexperienced folks who are watching this Overwatch game for the first time might take note of, it might seem odd that our Tracer isn't engaging or attacking the closest hero. That's the D.Va that was over there on that site. Something for our new fans or parents watching this who are brand new to Overwatch in general is you want to try to avoid those tanky characters, and you want to try to engage the ones that are doing much more damage but are much easier to sort of eliminate. And that's really what our Tracer was trying to do there by bouncing back and forth in between cover, looking for those opportunities to engage the soft targets. Lucio sort of making a wonderful little engagement there. One of the cool parts about Lucio's kit, I love the verticality, and I love that Baker Boy's sort of taking advantage of it, which is great.
Lucio is definitely a great character, especially for team mobility. Getting your team in and out of dangerous situations very quick. Of course, the AoE healing is always good, but a lot of Lucio players mostly use that speed boost to speed their team into situations where you have an advantage,
or speed
them out of situations where you might have a disadvantage and be able to get behind a cover quicker.
And speaking of advantage and disadvantage, you guys got to see a little bit of that Lucio knocking away that D.Va and continuing to sort of harass the tank. Now, that looks like, yes, the mech goes down. The mech goes down, which is great. Oh, looks like, oh, good. Sombra getting a little hack there, but again, not actually going to do too much to the team. The Ramatra continuing to make that engagement, continuing to push. This is a wonderfully aggressive push right into the enemy, and it looks like we're not even scattered. We're sort of letting the enemy make those re-engagements, but doing it in a way that benefits us. This is a great start to the second match.
And you might be wondering, is this overextending? Not quite. This is very different from overextending. Whenever we talk about overextending, we talk about typically one or two people who have gone too far from their team. If you push together as a group, as long as you are not touching the spawn doors, you can still get an advantage of that. Of course, there's always going to be a point where if you have pushed too far, it is simply too far. So I would say if you saw where they were pushing past that chokehold into that area with the big pod-looking thing.
Yeah, it's a big generator in the middle of it, right?
You typically do not want to go past that. Staying behind that is always good, and then being able to go back to that choke point, especially if you're being pushed by the enemy team coming out of spawn.
Oh, and it looks like Penguin overextended there. Again, we're talking about the overextension, but not hugging the natural cover is one of those ways that you're going to get surefire picked off by the back line. This is something that continues to happen. The enemy backline is very, 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 very good. It seems like that picking through people, and this is exactly what we talked about. You don't want to overextend. You don't want to open up those different avenues for attack, and you don't want to engage in small numbers just like that. But again, this is far, far, far from over, and what I love is they're just waiting. Do you see how they all waited? It was, love that.
They all had to wait to regroup. Regrouping here is definitely the smartest part. You want to go, especially with how close they are to getting this point, you want to be able to go in as a team especially with that amazing Lucio ult.
Yeah,
that was a wonderful Lucio ult.
Incredible. Oh, and immediately get the kill. Yes, this is exactly what you were talking about earlier, making sure that we hit that speed engage from the Lucio ult to sort of push our team into an advantageous solution. Baker Boy unfortunately getting picked off there, but it looks like it's enough to sort of contest the point, at least for right now. That was an incredible Lucio ult, and Lucio looking to get the kill on the squishy back line. Doesn't manage to do it, but does manage to force them away. Again, this is wonderful to watch this Lucio sort of harass them, but it's just not enough, unfortunately. The team does unfortunately fold, and I think that is going to be the match point, unfortunately.
I like how, I'm not sure if you saw there, but with that Lucio ult, it almost completely nullified that Kiri ult that happened because they ulted in response to that Lucio ult. But because Lucio gives you so much overhealth and they pushed in so aggressively, there for a while it looked like they had quite the advantage. Unfortunately, I think there was just a couple of mispositions that happened that unfortunately gave the enemy a couple of advantages over our team there.
Yeah, and I think the one thing, and actually we're hearing the shouts from the players going, Sombra, Sombra in the background. This is one of the things that I think truly did win that engagement for the opponents, is having that access to that Sombra. If I watched our tank or if I watched our main DPS get hacked once, I watched it half a dozen times in that match. That was really, really great Sombra playing, and I know the play of the game went to the enemy Tracer, but man, for my money, if I'm picking somebody who really swung the tide of that match, it's going to the Sombra player.
Sombra can definitely get off some like really good hacks, especially like prime targets for a Sombra is typically like a Kiriko. If you hack a Kiriko, she cannot use her TP, she cannot get away from you, she cannot use her Suzu, which pretty much nullifies damage for, I believe, I'm not sure the numbers on it, but it's about like 0.5 seconds or whatever. But like even that 0.5 seconds can be a lot of time.
Make or break, right? It's like imagine losing your, imagine learning to ride a bike for the first time and you lose your training wheels for 0.5 seconds.
Yeah.
0.5 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, to the untrained eye or the untrained player. But man, when you're playing a competitive game like this, 0.5 seconds feels like an eternity.
Almost beyond an eternity most of the time. Like it just leaves you so vulnerable. Like Sombra is genuinely such a good pick in most games, especially like in competitive. She can get into your backline pretty easily, especially with her translocator. She did get that little nerf where like now she can't be perma invis, which I think was definitely a very good change.
As somebody who routinely had his suit of armor hacked by Sombras, I have to tell you, oh gosh, I'm so happy she got nerfed at least a little bit. Oh man.
Oh, yeah.
There was nothing like worse than like pushing in with all of the strength in my heart and all of the strength in my soul, and then immediately just get in this like stupid little audio cue of me being hacked. I'm like, I will find you and strangle you. So,
all of
what
a sudden
are you doing?
Don't have a shield to like save yourself there, and it's completely gone, and you're just out there vulnerable as this big Reinhardt, the perfect target for the other team.
Oh, I know. Oh, it brings me untold amounts of sadness. But looks like we're gearing up again for the next game, preparing our defenses. One of our team members has locked in a Sojourn, which is kind of exciting for me. Maddie, tell the folks at home a little bit about Sojourn.
Sojourn is also a very good dive character. She has that slide that gives her that very good mobility. It also gives her very good height. So especially on a map like this where there's a lot of verticality that you're seeing around, she can get to those different high points. She can get to there's a very good high point like behind the point that a lot of people will try to push at or like try to take over. She's able to get up there pretty easily. Her railgun is a very, very important part of her kit.
Yep.
The way she charges it up is she uses that primary fire, and then that whenever you get that railgun to, I'd say about like 78, like between like 70% to almost 100%, you're going to do some pretty big damage.
And that's when you unleash it. And it looks like we're already starting our first team engagement of the game. Now, I love that our Juno is sort of, still managing to get those heals in from the back, but it just feels like the, Face to Toll is just a little bit too far back for the healing to really matter there. Now, granted, I do not play support very often, so Maddie, talk to me about that positioning. Is that good positioning? Is it not the best positioning? Do you want to fall back as Juno? Do you not want to fall back as Juno? Walk me through that, because that seemed like a very, very steep disengage in the middle of a team fight.
I'd definitely say it's a very, I wouldn't necessarily say it's like the worst play ever, but you also need your team to know what's going on. Well, I feel like there may have been a little miscommunication there.
Yep.
Holding that choke point is very good. Like this is probably one of the best chokes here in the King's Row
speaking of
map.
holding the choke point, they've literally just made the re-engage. That we got to watch that Maywall, and then of course we got to watch Lamone with that Ramatra re-engagement. This is a immediate stark turnaround from what we just saw, which is kind of crazy. Again, holding that choke point, holding that Ramatra choke point. And one of the things that I'm noticing is that the enemy seems to be like jumping up on that bus, jumping up on top of the rooftop, again, grabbing those angles. Our team does not seem to be utilizing those angles quite as much. Is that really important in this map, do you think? Or what do you how do you feel about that?
Definitely depending on the comp that they have, it can be very detrimental to our team.
And there's the Sombra hack again. Oh, brutal.
Especially with that Sombra being able to go around from that high ground. I definitely think we see the Ram ult coming out. This can be very big.
Come on, Ramatra, sort of pushing. The Mei wall comes down a little bit, trying to buy them a little bit more time, give them some better positioning.
That was a very well-timed Ramatra.
2 kills on the enemy team for Lamone. You gotta love that re-engagement. We've been saying this for a while, but pretty much every time Lamone makes an engage or a re-engagement, he seems to sort of change the tide, or at the very least stall the enemy position, which is huge.
He did a beautiful, beautiful Ramatra ult there, as we saw. As you can see, they are now reholding this choke point. Like I can't stress enough how important this choke point is on this map.
Another Sombra hack comes in. Oh my goodness. Sombra just seems like they're committed to just hacking us in the back line the entire time. Yep, and then another one goes down. We watched Mei manage to hold the ice block to sort of stay alive in the middle of a really intense team fight, but the Genji is going to get her, unfortunately. Oh, but there we go. The team has sort of taken some time. They're regrouping. They're pushing through the sewers. Come on, team.
You can see how much movement you get from that Juno hyper ring there as they were coming out of spawn there, because now they are back at this, I'd say probably the second strongest choke point in this game.
Yep.
Maybe even the strongest, There are a lot of good choke points on King's Row, if I'm being honest, which is why it's a very good Reinhardt map as well. Like, Ryan can just hold those choke points and swing into those choke points. Like, all the time whenever,
Another hack from the Sombra.
The Sombra is a very, very annoying. She's doing her job very well, unfortunately, for our backline.
Yeah. Unfortunately for our backline, for our tanks, it seems like everybody, we can't seem to catch a break. This is one of the things, again, for those of you who are perhaps uninitiated to Overwatch and uninitiated to hero shooters like this one, that you'll notice is that these team roles are really important. You'll notice that the opponent's diva continues to press in, and they're almost a distraction while, again, you just saw it, while Sombra hacks the people that they need to hack. And again, it's that sort of combination of the abilities and the different team roles that really does play a huge role in a team's success.
This is a nice escape by Ramatra, making sure he doesn't die there so he can regroup with his team. The last thing you want right now is like a stagger, because if you stagger at this point, then that's longer for your team to have to wait for you to come back from spawn.
Yep, correct. Popping back.
Unfortunately, there.
Yep. It's tough. Again, our
especially
team,
with how aggressive this diva is. This diva is doing.
That's what I'm saying. Is it seems like this diva is really pushing in, exploiting that distraction, and then letting the Sombra sort of take care of the people right before they become a problem. It's interesting. One of the things that I've noticed for our team is that we really seem to be struggling to get that backline into a position where it can do the kind of damage that you would hope your backline carries can do.
I'd definitely say, I'm not sure if you've noticed this or not, but as you can see, the diva's kind of like pushing past our Ramatra a lot. And that's not necessarily to our Ramatra's fault. That is just diva having a very high mobility, and she's a good chase tank. No, I about said taste tank.
It's a good taste tank, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Let me just cut a slice out of this M1 Abrams and I'll take a bite. That sounds pretty delicious, right?
But she's very good, especially with those micro missiles at like a close distance. She's very good about just absolutely mowing down like what we call squishies. So that's like the DPS who have like the lower health, and like the tank and everything.
Yeah. And it's actually, it makes me wonder, right, is this a counterpick to our team, right? Knowing that Ramatra is a tank that likes to hold people down, are they specifically choosing diva every single time because they keep seeing either Ramatra or Orisa who want to try to hold the enemy in place as much as they can? Or is this just, I'm wondering, I'm spitballing here. Obviously, I'm not in the enemy's locker room or anything, but it'd be interesting to see what the thought process was there.
I would definitely say that, like, it's not like a full, I wouldn't say this is a counter pick. I would probably say that this diva just is very like aware of our Ramatra's cooldowns. Like, I've noticed her use her mobility after Ramatra uses his vortex. So he's already used the thing that slows down the enemy. So she knows it's a good time to push and that he can't do anything about it if she pushes their backline. That's the unfortunate thing about playing a Ramatra into a diva. However, Ramatra can, in fact, just mow diva down if our Ramatra plays it properly.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the things that's always really difficult with, especially with these maps. But, I mean, again, it's not over yet. This is a really important thing to consider. I know the score says 0-3, but there's so much that we can still have that it can happen in this game to allow our team to come back and sort of win it all.
I mean, along with, like, the time that they have left and everything for the other team, I feel like this is very possible to come back and win this map. Especially with this Widow pick. This Widow pick is very good, especially whenever it comes to attacking. As long as she does not get taken out instantly. Oh, did we switch from the Widow to the...
That's what I'm looking at. It looks like we've got... Nope, we have a Widow. Penguin is still on Widow. Yep, we are on Widowmaker. We have the Widowmaker.
Okay. Widowmaker can be a very good character, especially after the Sombra nerf. The biggest threat to Widowmaker for the longest time was a Sombra coming at you out of perma-invis and just mowing you down and then going back to her team instantly. However, now that Sombra does not have that perma-invis, she has to be much smarter about her plays and going into the back line. Our Widow can definitely dominate here, especially with that high ground, as long as she plays her positioning carefully, as long as she plays behind cover and is very aware of her position and aware whenever that Sombra might be coming for her.
Yeah, and see, this is one of the most interesting things. You know, we keep talking about choke points, we keep talking about elevation, but Widowmaker, because they've got that access to the grappling hook and that long range on the sniper rifle, you can take a lot of advantage. But oh my gosh, the Symmetra turrets coming in huge there. You can see those Symmetra turrets sort of embedded in the back of the wall, and those are doing a crazy amount of work right now to the damage
Symmetra
as we continue to make those engagements.
Very good defensive character.
Yeah, especially for this map with these choke points, man. The Symmetra turrets are pretty big. It's very interesting, at least to me, that people have sort of moved away from Torbjorn and characters like Torbjorn who have what I would consider to be like a stationary defensive structure like his turrets, but Symmetra continues to be like an absolute powerhouse.
I will say I think this Zarya pick on our tank here is really good. If she just kind of walks into it and then is able to destroy those turrets for her team, it can be very good for her, because not only does she get the charge for her beam and is able to do more damage with it because she's farming charge from those turrets, she also makes it safer for her team whenever she pushes in.
Does it look like there is an enemy Widowmaker as well? That was one of the things that I didn't notice, but it looked like we had a sniper.
It looks
shot
like there is in
kind.
fact a enemy Widowmaker.
I was going to say we have not had the confirmation yet because I haven't seen her, but I recognize that I'd recognize that bullet trail just about anywhere. So it looks like the enemy had the exact same. Oh, and yep, Wombat on the opposing team is playing there. So we get a little bit of an enemy at the gate situation. We get a sniper duel in our good old-fashioned game.
Good old-fashioned sniper duel. And now that Wombat has to walk back from spawn, this is actually giving our team a very good advantage because of the fact that she has such a long walk compared to our team who just came out of spawn. However, with that Sigma ult, that was a very well-timed Sigma. That was an even better immortality field right there. That was a very well-timed immortality field.
Yeah. Yep.
Unfortunately, it looks like the other team is responding as well. Oh, but a very good combo of that Juno ult and that
good.
Ult.
We got to kill down. We got to kill down. We got to kill down. Let's go. 4 champs
and
down for us.
100% wins that point
for them. What an absolute wow. Literally snatching victory from the jaws of defeat there. What an incredible play by the boys. And it starts again, for those of you who are watching the kill stream on the right side of the screen, starts with a wonderful little Widowmaker engagement from Penguin and then goes as the entire rest of our team sort of collapses in on that front line. What an absolute play.
As you can see, our team is pinging that enemy Widowmaker for our Widowmaker to possibly have the advantage. One thing that is very detrimental as Widowmaker, as a new Widowmaker main who is learning Widowmaker, is striking first before people know where you are.
And then using that grappling hook to re-engage.
If you're able to get an elim before people know where you are, then you're instantly up 1 to, you're up that 4 to 5, meaning you have more of an advantage.
And Lamone once again showing why he's the team's tank, making a wonderful fighting disengagement with that Zarya.
Zarya is a wonderful, wonderful tank. I would still say Zarya is a very good tank here. Unfortunately, she does not have the verticality that other tanks might have, but neither does the Sigma, so the Sigma is also stuck on the ground battling her.
Right, which means that this could be a situation where Zarya's got the advantage. And again, we get to watch Zarya sort of force their way back into the back lines around the shield, doing exactly what you discussed earlier, Coach Maddie, which is taking out those Symmetra turrets just by her existing, which is huge.
Oh, yeah. I feel like a lot of people don't realize how, much Zarya can in fact counter Symmetra, because most people think about how whenever Symmetra's turrets are damaging something, it charges up her primary fire, her beam and everything. And as detrimental as that beam can be, I feel like Zarya's beam is even stronger as the tank. So overall, I believe that
Really strong engage.
Really strong.
Yeah, really, really strong engage. And again, one of the things that we're seeing right now is the Bastion pick, which I'll be honest, I actually kind of like having access to the Bastion pick here. I think it's a really smart call just to have access to it, because one of the things that he can do is sort of pop into that tank form, grab the turret, and immediately start spraying down oncoming enemies. Yeah, and see, he's going right into it, and it looks like we're going to watch the Bastion engage, and that turret is going to do some serious work. Well done with a kill immediately. Love that. Ooh, Lamone, of course, pushing in. Penguin getting the kill on Wombat, which is great. Exactly what you talked about earlier, Coach Maddie, with that sniper re-engage and disengage.
Oh, yeah. Especially on points like this with, like, a lot of different high grounds, it is... Widow here can just absolutely dominate.
Yeah.
Like, the Widow pick was a very good pick to have.
You know, it's almost like we talked about this at the beginning of the game, the importance of high ground and positioning. Man, you know, it's almost like we kind of know what we're talking about sometimes.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, you know, every now and again.
Every now and again. You know, I know what I'm talking about like 50% of the time, probably.
And that's why we get access to the gourmet tanks that we get to eat. Let's go. And that is it. Winning around in commanding fashion. Well done, of course, to the Valhallan team. Well done. This is exactly the kind of pickup they needed to sort of turn this back around. And we got 30 more seconds remaining than them, too.
Yep, 3-3, and they have a time advantage right now. This is definitely very winnable for their team.
That was a huge
as long as they get
victory.
A very, very good defense. We might even see like the Mei pick again on our team. We could see maybe a Bastion as well. Bastion is very good, like high damage if he's able to stay in one spot and be protected by his team, especially in that turret form, because Bastion is much slower in that turret form than he is like just walking around.
I love it. We're hearing everybody yell, lock in. One of the things that I would love, and it's one of the things that I'm noticing about our team as a potential weakness maybe, is that I would love for us to pick up some new champions. I feel like I keep seeing Juno. I feel like I keep seeing Juno. I feel like I keep seeing Kiriko. I feel like I keep seeing Sojourn. Lamone's been switching on a lot, on and on quite a bit. Penguin has been switching on and off quite a bit. But like I would have loved to have seen a Symmetra pick up here. I think that would have been absolutely huge, especially because we saw Symmetra be so good when the enemy is that aggressive, and we know this team likes to play aggressively against our team.
And I totally understand wanting to see some new heroes, but some of these heroes that they've got going on right now is actually very good for this. Like you mentioned wanting to see something other than Juno, but Juno as of right now is very good in this meta. Yeah. Especially with that hyper ring being able to push in and push out.
Okay.
That is very good for moving from choke point to choke point, or like getting out of like danger. We're using that immortality field a little early there, but I think we will still be able to pull it through.
Yep.
We're losing that Bastion a little early.
Well, that's okay. Lamone managed to get the kill on off Baptiste, which is pretty great as well, sort of forcing him back and out of position. It's one of the things, again, this is an interesting question for me and to you, right? Obviously, one of the things that Kiriko manages to do and gets to do is have that ring to sort of make those engagements and those disengagements. To me, that feels like a really good thing on offense. But and that's why I'm thinking, man, maybe I want the Symmetra turrets for defense. But you're saying you want those on defense as well, those rings as well?
Because with these hero picks, they are very good aggressively, but they are also very good defensively. Like with the Kiri, you can be very, very aggressive with Kiri, and then pretty much get out unscathed with her like TP or like with her Suzu, so your team can take a bunch of damage, and then right before like your team is about to get eliminated, if you throw that Suzu down, you just saved your entire team, and now the other team is at a disadvantage because of the fact that they spent all of their resources trying to kill your team with that one push, that one big push that they had.
And speaking of big pushes, it looks like our team again got a little bit scattered there, took a big push from the enemy, and that was enough to sort of take him down. You guys got to watch Lamone sort of try their best to sort of keep everything there. Again, you've watched Baptiste kind of keep his best to sort of keep people alive. We got the Bastion play again. It's one of those things where they're looking for a chance to regroup, they're looking for a chance to get back together, and they've got to stop that payload. That's going to be an issue.
Even with them getting first point, I believe they still have a wonderful chance. Wonderful chance here, especially with this other choke point. This is also, like I was talking about earlier, a very good choke point, especially with this amazing Zarya grab right here.
And one of the things that we got to talk about is the time, right? We do have the opportunity, because we have the time advantage, to sort of hold this and make those things. It's something you and I did mention at the beginning of this as well. That we had that 30-second time advantage going into this. So who knows how critical that is going to be, especially as the enemy only manages to pick up 1 point.
I mean, it's very detrimental, especially because we are in overtime already right now, as you can see. As long as our team are able to keep them defended at a point where it'll be easy for them to push in and pretty much just get the point pretty easily for them. I believe this is very much could be in our team's favor here.
Yeah, I was going to say, when again, we're in the middle of overtime, which is always going to be a huge deal. Really hopeful that we can hold them here and turn that time leverage to our advantage. Oh, that's a great jump by Penguin. Penguin again sort of jumping around, trying their best to sort of keep him there, but he does get down. Bastion manages to hit the tank for him, and they're hopping around doing a lot of damage. Oh my gosh, it's just like watching a reboot of Short Circuit. He's going
like
in.
They're up too.
Oh, the sober hack, but is it going to be enough to stop us from making a perfect re-engagement? I don't know. We're looking like we're going to do okay.
All right.
And we clear the payload. Well done, team. That was fantastic. What a way to turn that time advantage to our favor. Again, the opponent's only picking up 1 whole point.
I predict we're going to see a very aggressive team comp coming into this next one. We are going to see them push into this very hard, and as a team, trying to force them back as quickly as possible, especially using that time advantage over them.
100%, and that's exactly why we talked about the time advantage at the beginning of the stream. This is going to be one of the big things. If they can push in, if they can force the team to play defensively, if they can knock them out of their sort of rhythm, of their equilibrium, then that means that we can really sort of capitalize on the time advantage and get maybe more than 1 point, and really we only need more than 1 point to take this.
Oh yeah. Nope. This could be very like we were talking about time advantage a lot. I mean, like we were talking earlier about 0.5 seconds being a lot. Imagine how big 31 seconds is over the other team to their 2 minutes.
Well, and that's the thing, we talked about that 30-second advantage too before we even got into this last section of rounds. Like 30 seconds in this game is huge. Although again, all I can think about is that 0.5 seconds. So, oh man,
yeah.
The hack is devastating.
Yeah,
the hack is devastating.
30 seconds without training wheels and you don't know what you're doing instead of the 0.5 seconds.
I mean, I've been going 31 years without knowing what I'm doing, so.
You're doing okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I get to cast Overwatch semifinals, so I feel like I'm doing something right.
Yeah, it's because you have an amazing support main on your side.
I do.
Constantly walk you through things.
The best pocket mercy I could ever hope for. And again, watching Juno sort of come down a little bit, but Bastion sort of cut off from the rest of the team as we make a big engagement. This is one of those times where I really wish our team had managed to get together, because Bastion picked off. Unfortunately, we lost Lamone as well. Losing that Zarya was kind of a big deal there, but it looks like the enemy team has sort of managed to regroup and a counter pick.
We've already got our counter swap here against this Malga with the Ana.
I was going to say, I saw the Malga and then I saw the Ana come in.
Because Malga, self-healing is pretty much just what makes him the tank. If you take away that self-healing and being able to, heal and help his team with his, I believe it is his E, it pretty much just mitigates everything that Malga can do.
Wombat's down, assist is down. Oh my gosh, our Unbeknown is down. This is great, capping the point. This is awesome. Face of Toll getting a ton of really, really, really great shots off there.
There's that on that Malga, and he slept.
There it is.
That is it.
Oh, Malga's done. Reaper just chunking through that health, which is absolutely fantastic. Jamari goes down as well. Oh, we're going to capture the point. Let's go, baby.
And you could see last minute there with the supports trying to touch to try and make extra time for their team to come in, but our team just absolutely.
Yeah, our team said absolutely not.
Absolutely not, and they instantly shut that down.
We hit the Matumbo and we're like, not in my house. Oh, that poor support just tried to go in and not today. No. That poor support just came in and got absolutely disintegrated. We watched Face to Toll and Lamone literally just turn all of their guns in the direction of someone with 75 health soaking wet and just get absolutely obliterated. Oh, that poor support.
We see the Bastion with the high ground, though. This might be a bad time for our team here.
And I was going to say, this is, again, the importance of that high ground, the importance of that positioning. Again, I'm hoping that Face of Toll will come back in. Face of Toll was
Nano on our Malga.
Yes, get the Malga, the Nano.
I just noticed the Diva swap. They're trying to counter our Malga here since he swapped and everything.
Oh, and
it looks
Lamone
like,
goes
unfortunately,
down.
that may have worked.
Yeah, but it's okay. Lamone does go down, and obviously you don't want to sacrifice your tank, but my gosh, we got 20, 30 meters off of that, and it looks like that. Reaper goes down.
He created a lot of space for us there.
A lot of space. And now, is that space going to be enough? Remember, we still have a pretty decent chunk of time remaining as we get into overtime.
Unfortunately, it looks like we are not able to touch that last second.
Not enough. Oh, man.
I will say, definitely, our team did definitely much better this time, and they put up a huge fight against
Yeah,
this
that
team.
was absolutely incredible. What
They
a
were
great,
not going
yeah,
down
no,
without a fight.
what a great game of Overwatch to watch on both sides. I mean, this was genuinely incredible. Again, talking about that positioning, though, we get to watch as this Widowmaker sort of comes in and manages to do a lot of the work there during that first team fight. My gosh, like 1, 2, 3 kills in really rapid succession. But I got to tell you, what a phenomenal game of Overwatch to watch. You know, to Overwatch, in fact.
You know, too, it was definitely a wonder to watch this over with you.
Yeah, a wonder to watch. And my only question, though, to the folks at home is, when do I get my Valhalla branded fanny pack for all of my dad jokes that I get to make? When do I get that?
Whenever you turn into a Soldier 76 main.
That's what I have to do, is turn into a Soldier 70s. That's
unfortunately,
true.
You're still a Reinhardt main.
Yeah,
and
yep. No, you're right.
Unfortunately, he is not...
canonically does not have a dad skin, despite the fact that he
not.
has a canonical daughter in the game. Right?
He does.
Yeah, isn't Brigitte his daughter?
No.
Oh,
that's,
okay.
That's
all right.
Torb.
That's Torb's daughter. That's Torb's daughter. You're right.
Yep,
I'm sorry.
That is Torb.
There's just so
you
many.
You don't know your Overwatch characters, and you're casting Overwatch?
You know what? You're right. Sadly enough, I was not chosen to cast the Overwatch lore stream. You'll have to...
Tune in next time for the Overwatch lore stream.
Overwatch lore stream.
Where we talk all about the lore.
So anyway, the Geneva Conventions ban my boy Winston. Free my boy Reaper. He ain't do nothing wrong. What are a couple war crimes when you've got Drip? Like, it's just hanging out, having a great time. Oh man, the Overwatch lore stream. Game is on break, guys. We're gonna just sort of, again, having a great time with everybody here on the stream. What a first game. What a first game.
Oh yeah, those first 2 games are like, you can just see our team is putting up an amazing fight. They are not going down without a fight. They're pushing in. They're doing a lot better pushes as groups. They're doing wonderful things, especially like against, like, you saw they adapted to that Sombra a little bit, and then they pulled out that Widow, and unfortunately I don't think our team was quite ready for that.
No. This is the one thing, and again, you and I talked about it the last time that we streamed together, the last time that we casted together. But one of the big things that we keep talking about is positioning, playing the elevations. It's something that really does separate the good Overwatch players from the fantastic Overwatch players. It's something that you keep watching pro players do pretty much constantly. That's why Lucio has been so good for so long. That elevation, being able to sort of play around the verticality of maps, it's a huge deal.
Oh yeah, like we definitely sound like broken records at this point, but verticality is probably like one of the best advantages you can have in this game.
Listen, I'm the best broken record. Bricket.
I think you need to leave.
Okay,
you need to leave the booth after that one.
You know what? Listen, I'm just telling you. If I rack up enough dad jokes in one stream, I get a fanny pack.
I've already told you have to be a Soldier 76 main. I don't make the rules here. Okay?
Coach Andrew is yelling at me back off screen going, no, you are not getting a fanny pack. I'll bring snacks for the arena. I can put them in there. Imagine fruit gummies on the stream. How great would that be? Everyone stays hydrated. All right, we're back into it. Fashion faux pas aside, it looks like we're already off to a great engagement. We have got a Mercy helping out our team. Already one enemy down, which is absolutely fantastic. Agoop taking out the Tracer, which is a good call. Continuing to attack Flashpoint. It looks like we have a little Mercy v Mercy battle, a Pocket Mercy and their Diva versus our Pocket Mercy. And is that, I assume that's our Sojourn again, am I correct?
Yes, it is.
All right.
I definitely believe the Mercy pocketing our Sojourn here is very good.
Yes.
Sojourn is one of the characters, like I was talking about earlier, who can just do a lot of damage all at the same time, especially with the charged railgun. And then imagine that charged railgun with a damage boost on top of it whenever you already know that it does a lot of damage.
Well, and it's really helpful when we've got 2 tank-like characters in the form of both Zarya and Bastion, who are, I don't want to say fully self-sufficient, but are much more capable of handling themselves without the help of a pocket support, as opposed to somebody like Bastion, who I mean obviously just got turned into scrap metal right there, but that's not a huge problem for us. It does seem like we're sort of taking a second to re-engage, to readjust and regroup, and it looks like we are.
The Bat Mercy here is very good.
Yeah,
for this team,
I very much agree. I think the Pocket Mercy here is the 100% correct play to make.
It just the damage boosts I was talking about just gives us a really good advantage, and then as you can see with like the BAP has just very good hailing output. Unfortunately, he
does get wiped out by Unbeknown. Yeah, Echo's.
Echo is also one of those very good vertical characters, which is why she's a very good character. She doesn't need to sit on high ground. She has that fly that just automatically gives her that high ground.
It's really interesting that we keep talking about high ground here, and as we're sort of exchanging kills, right? We're going kill for kill with the opponents. One of the things that I have noticed is that nobody seems to be playing Pharah in the games that we're casting. Is that just because she's Bashi's not meta? Do are teams more interested in things are sort of benefit from the game rules and the game buffs as opposed to exploiting the verticality that we're talking about? Walk me through that a little bit.
I don't necessarily think it's because Pharah is not meta. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but I believe around season 10-ish, she got a rework, so everyone might not know how to play that reworked Pharah.
Gotcha.
It is also possible that they're thinking strategically with like hitboxes. Echo is much harder to hit than a Pharah in this guy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
She has a much smaller hitbox, and she's still able to do that big amount of damage that like Pharah would be able to do. And she's also able to get in up closer without damaging herself near as much as like a Pharah would.
Well, and speaking of a big amount of damage, our Bastion was doing a really great job there of sort of poking in and out in between those corners and sort of taking advantage of the little bit of the damage. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. He does manage to get picked down by that diva. But one of the things that you wonderful folks at home are probably going to notice is a lot of our characters are committing to sort of harassing the enemy team as best as humanly possible and finding places and opportunities for us to re-engage or disengage. You'll notice Juno doing exactly what Coach Maddie talked about earlier, chucking down that ring to sort of make the speed disengage and maybe proving Coach Kyle, the world's greatest Reinhardt, wrong a little bit, that a speed boosting ring could potentially be used defensively.
Potentially. Of course, you wouldn't know anything about support abilities as a tank main.
Listen, it's my job to keep the support safe. I don't have to know what you guys do back there. As long as I'm alive at the end of the day and I get to swing a big hammer at someone's face, I'm okay. I'm happy about it.
He doesn't even know the abilities that keep him alive, like a hyper ring that speeds him out of things.
You know what?
But as
Listen.
you can see, we see this Bastion doing a wonderful amount of damage and not overextending as well. And being able to poke, a lot of this, I believe, is just poking out and trying to get the enemies to use cooldowns that are very detrimental to help their team. Like trying to force like a BAP immortality field, or like trying to force like an Ana nade or an Ana sleep. Those can be very good against this team.
Well, and this is one of the things that you had brought up earlier in the stream, right? Overwatch is in many ways a game about trying to combine those alts. And so if we can get those alts out of there, that's really great, especially because this team, our opponents, seem to be really good at combining those alts. And just like we had talked about, they poked, got him to overextend, and are starting to pick him down one at a time, which is absolutely amazing because, a 5-player kill streak is just beautiful. And we get to watch Penguin sort of run down this diva, which, you hate to see it if you're a diva main getting run down by a lone squishy tracer. But, I mean, there's really not much else to do for that diva player as they're attempting to wait for their team to regroup and potentially re-engage.
Yeah, Tracer's very good here, especially for the poking and trying to get out abilities and stuff. Not all of Tracer's value is just getting eliminations. A lot of her value is distracting the team, like trying to pull away a support's focus from helping their team, or trying to pull out abilities that team desperately needs to use. A lot of Overwatch is not just verticality, but also a resource game. You have to manage your resources.
Yeah, and again, this is something that we just saw happen in real time as our, obviously our team didn't manage to get the re-engage and the regroup quite the way that we had wanted. So the opposing team manages to come in, take big advantage of those cooldowns, and then sort of push in all at once.
Right. And a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing so far, like our BAP immortality is like a very important. We got to try and force that BAP immortality out. In them forcing, as you can see, pushing on our Bastion.
Yep, that Tracer just goes through and stops the Bastion that was doing a lot of the harassment. And again, after Bastion goes down, Baptiste goes down too. Penguin, of course, manages to take out Wombat, which is great. So a little bit of a Tracer v Tracer duel, and it looks like we're not quite evened up, but in a position where we can make a much better fight and a much better engage, especially with Lamone having that sort of buffed health with Zarya.
I will always stand by Zarya. I love Zarya so much. She's a very good tank. I am definitely not biased at all whatsoever when it comes to Zarya players. I've only had so many save my life before, unlike a certain Reinhardt main.
Could you imagine having a bias to a certain tank in this game? Imagine that.
Yeah, no, of course not. Like, that's a wonderful grab. Unfortunately, that is a
grab.
Beautiful Baptiste field by the other team. That just saves them all that damage.
Oh, brutal. And again, this is one of those things.
However, now they do not have that Echo ult.
No, they don't, which is good if we can manage to get the regroup and then the re-engage in.
I believe there was a tactical reset right there. So for our Tracer, just trying to get back to their team as quickly as possible as everyone else was getting eliminated.
And again, we get to see a little bit of why Juno continues to be picked right now. There's that verticality in this map, although Juno pushing maybe a little bit too far. Juno, don't go that close to the Tracer.
Oh, yeah, that Tracer is doing a wonderful job trying to force our team's cooldowns out. She's proving to be a very big nuisance, a very big thorn in our side right now.
And this does seem to be the one thing that the opposing team is doing pretty well. And actually our team has been adapting to quite decently. Has been, obviously the first couple of games we watched the backline get absolutely, they get to run rampant on us. But it looks like we're sort of adapting to that and allowing our time and space to sort of collapse back, protect our squishies, as you like to call them, before we continue to press forward. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a tough defeat, though. That's a tough defeat and a hard-fought one. Is.
Just that tracer poke, like a lot of the tracer poke just did so much to our team. Even like the echo stickies. One thing that some people might not know is if echo stickies land on you and you walk like into like another teammate or anything, it also damages the other teammate. Yep. So echo stickies are a very good like damaging type like move there for that team.
Yep. And suddenly I'm getting nightmares. I'm getting nightmares about playing Team Fortress 2 and the Demolition Man sort of coming in like that. Oh, man, what a game to watch. What a time to watch. I got to tell you, that was a fantastic series of games to absolutely watch. Coach Maddie, anything you want to like add, anything you want to lead with? I feel like we watched two completely different teams from the time that we came in and casted first to the time that we're casting right now.
Oh, yeah. Like there's just been so much improvement. You can see that these players have worked really hard to get to where they're at right now. You can see all those different improvements when it comes to keeping together as a group and using their abilities in a better way. Like being able to use their resources, being able to try and poke out different cooldowns from the other team. I would say there's been a huge improvement whenever it comes to that. And you can see that in these different battles and these different like team fights that they were having. And especially like on that Kings Row. I'm going back to that Kings Row.
Oh, yeah, you should. That was like the most fun to cast. That Kings Row game was a back and forth just slugfest between these two teams. What a fun game of Overwatch to watch. And what a fun game to cast.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. And it looks like we're going to be having some post-game interviews with the gentlemen themselves. Again, a fantastic time and a fantastic game. Coach Maddie, I'm so glad I got to do this with you. Despite the fact that you don't understand the Reinhardt supremacy, but that's okay. But it does look like I have my first interview right here. So unfortunately, Coach Maddie, I have to bid you adieu. I have to go. Please surrender your headphones to our resident tank extraordinaire. And I say that with all of the love in my heart as a fellow tank extraordinaire. Landon, man, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing pretty good.
Dude, I got to tell you, okay, before we get into the questions, what were you on tonight? Because that was amazing tanking from start to finish, dude.
I was on Zarya.
Yeah, you were. If you go back and you watch the VOD, literally it's the two of us going, oh, the Zarya pick is so good. The Zarya pick was such a clutch move there. All right, so tell me, I want to go back to our second match over at Kings Row. Talk to me a little bit about that first engagement, right? You guys are pressing in. They have the Symmetra turrets all in a giant line right there.
Yeah.
Your team is starting to fold back a little bit. What's going through your mind when you make an engagement like that?
Like that, the biggest thing is the symmetric turrets, first of all, because they can slow you down, they can pretty shred your entire team, then symmetric gets her full beam, and you're done. So the biggest worry is getting those gone. Second worry is just getting behind Sig, because that's his biggest weakness. If you get behind Sig, you can shred his backline, he can't really do much. So that was the two biggest goals, and then finally Sig.
Okay, that's absolutely amazing, because literally hearing you break that down, that is a play-by-play of what we actually got to commentate tonight, which was absolutely cool. So obviously, prioritizing your targets, prioritizing the things that you want to engage with, that's a big deal as a tank player. Was there one moment in the game that felt like it was really pivotal to you or to the team? Like, was there one key moment, if you could pinpoint that you felt like you were the strongest at in this game as a team?
As a team, I feel like it would be our hold, even though it didn't go necessarily very well. I think we held very, very well that first defense and second defense just in general.
Yeah,
we did the best we could, and we did pretty amazing thing throughout that entire Kings Row map.
Yeah, I'll be honest. One of the things that Coach Maddie and I were discussing was how much fun it was to live cast a slugfest like that one on Kings Row, where it just seemed like both teams were going absolutely just totally to the walls, trying to get it done. Is there one thing that you personally would have liked to improve on, or you would have liked to see play out a little bit differently, something you would adjust maybe if you were going to redo this match again?
The very ending. I don't think I should have swapped Balga, because even though it suggested it worked, that first thing, it just insta counter swap means I can't play the game, because D.Va just outlasts my E, and I just can't really play the game much.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest regret.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And it looks like, I believe we have our second interviewee as well. So, Landon, thank you again so much for doing that, man. Way to play a great game, and wonderful to have you on. Well, hello, my friend. How we doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
I am fantastic. I'm Coach Kyle. Please introduce yourself to the wonderful folks at home.
I'm Eric. I'm our hitscan DPS player.
Okay, and what is your gamer tag since we were queuing up
Penguin.
gamer tag? Yeah, the Penguin in the house. Yeah, I wanted to give you a chance to introduce yourself to the folks at home because we've been live commentating you. So I'm going to ask you the first thing that I asked Landon, which is that first big engagement in Kings Row. You guys make that push. There are turrets everywhere. Your backline is getting pressed in. What is going through your head? What are you attempting to do? What are your What are your priorities during that first engagement?
So my current point, because I'm pretty sure I was Widowmaker playing at the point.
You absolutely were.
My job, because I knew where their Widow and Ana were stationed. They were stationed on the top part behind point. Just trying to pick one of them off because they didn't have anything to bring them back. So then we were automatically in a 4v5, being able to then push up. And I think I did get sniped there though. So then we had to play and wait until I got back.
I was going to say I'm trying to remember because there were two different sniper engagements because we didn't even get to see the Widowmaker pick until I watched the bullet stream whiz past the side of your head. And I was like, oh, that's an opposing Widow. But I do think you managed to get one of the kills off. One of the things that I talked to Landon about, and I'm curious to hear from the difference between a tank's perspective, right, and the dedicated DPS's perspective. What was one thing that you thought went exceptionally well during that game? Something you were proud of, something you were like, this is exactly the way that I wanted this to go, something that you watched your team sort of excel in?
Definitely communication. Like, there was a lot of that and more. I definitely think near the end it was becoming a problem just because we weren't really sure how to communicate because we were playing a comp that we never really played before. In addition to that, we were playing a comp that was like really brawl heavy with Czar and then our other DPS playing as the tanks, which we only did that once, and that was last season.
Okay.
And it was really weird for us on how to play it in common.
Sure. And one of the things that we want to talk about, or that we talked about constantly over here on the stream, is the importance of verticality, the importance of grabbing those choke points, of doing that. So both of us, with the second you guys locked in with Widowmaker, we were like, that seems like a good pick. Walk me through the decision to pick someone like Widowmaker that might be able to take advantage of some of those high angles like in Kings Row.
The main reason I picked Widow is because one of the heroes that I've played forever on and practiced on. But in addition to that, Widowmaker to the head can instant kill anybody that's a squishy. So if I can get a pick and make it a 4v5, it's an instantly free win for the fight. We can just push in, get aggressive. It could be someone as a DPS and they still have healers, but they don't have as much damage, or it can be someone as a support, like an Ana. No sleep, no nano, no nothing, free push.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and it seems like the enemy team was pushing you guys really aggressively, so that's a great way to sort of take advantage of that with those headshots. So that's a good idea, and it's a great pick. One last question before it's time for us to sort of swap out. Is there one thing that you think you could have done a little bit better, something you would have liked to improve on for this match?
I definitely think positioning is always. There was a few times that it's like we tried to get aggressive and we didn't really comment and all, and then when we do get aggressive, like I was way in front on that first map in Samoa as May, and our tank was way in the back. I thought we were pushing up, and then I got picked off, and then we had to wait like another 30 seconds before I could come back.
Cool. So just positioning and comms. Well, that makes a ton of sense to me. Well, Penguin, it is a pleasure to actually finally get to meet you after getting a comm and sort of watch you do that. I think your team is sort of in the middle of having a conversation, so I'm going to let you get back to your team, and thanks again for letting us cast, man. It was awesome.
No problem.
And now I'm waiting for the man, the myth, the legend himself. My fellow bald brother, Coach Connor. How are we doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you feeling as the coach after that game?
Little upset. Kind of sucks getting knocked out in semifinals. Fortunately, we were down one of our main roster, so playing down a player kind of really does suck. But thankfully, we have a new student, Xander. He did amazing filling in. He's only been here one time before that. So for his second time here, I think he did good.
I was going to say, we watched Xander do a ton of stuff with Bastion. Am I correct? He locked in with that Bastion pick and was doing a great job poking and harassing from a distance.
Yep. That was the plan. We tried a little bit on Sojourn on that first map, realized it wasn't really going that well.
Yeah.
So the whole plan, that's why we switched to that Czar Bastion on King's Row, and that seemed to work really well.
Yeah, it very much did.
Kind of play around his strengths. Bastion is his most played character, and Zarya just works really well with Bastion.
Yeah.
So try to play around that strengths. That seemed to work for us. Unfortunately, it's just the other team kind of adapted to it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
A few misplays and kind of cost us the rounds, but the team's not too upset. I'm not upset about it. I think we had a really good run, and for being down one of our main players, I think we did a really good job.
Well, and I'll be honest, too, before we transition to the next question, one of the things that Coach Maddie and I were both talking about and both discussing was how different this team seemed from the first time that we came into cast till now. Like, I mean, sticking together, making those engagements, and it turned into an absolute slugfest that was, a blast to watch and a total blast to cast. Obviously, you're coaching. It's a little bit more stressful for you, I think, I imagine. So one of the things that I asked a bunch of the players was, what do you think went particularly well tonight? Obviously, you mentioned being able to adapt to a new player, but was there something else that you think went really, really well?
We definitely improved our mental a lot. Even though we lost pretty handedly that first map 2-0, we didn't let it get to us. We put up a really, really good fight on that second map. Unfortunately, that last map, we just had some misplays that kind of snowballed.
Yeah.
But even then, throughout, players weren't too upset, and they kept playing. No one's, upset, crying, in tears here, so that's all I can really ask.
Yeah, no, I mean, literally, I know that people at home can't hear us, but, I'm hearing shouting and, high-fiving and people just slapping each other in the back. I mean, it's a night and day difference in terms of its mental. Is there something that you as the coach are looking for next season to maybe potentially improve on, something you want to work with, something that you want to sort of take them in a different direction to sort of help them be a little bit more successful next season?
Yeah, so definitely we're going to have to work on our team, playing together, shot calling.
Okay.
We got lost a little bit. People are fighting different people, which is why fights are going so long, taking so long to finish. Mm-hmm. Whereas if we just have all go on one target, the fights are just going to go so much faster, which we tend to do when we lose. We don't really call as well as we would be when we're winning. So we got to kind of fix that, just make it so we're always communicating, not when we're winning, even if we're down by a whole bunch. We have to keep talking. If we stop talking, essentially you're just giving up the win. Yeah. So definitely work on our communication a lot.
Awesome. And before I let you go, Coach Connor, is there one more thing that you want the fine folks at home to understand or to know about your team and know about this season, man?
We'll be better next season. We'll come back better and stronger, and hopefully we'll get that banner.
I love it, man. I love it. Hey, Coach Connor, thank you again for taking the time to talk to us. Really appreciate it, man. And thank you again, and congratulations to the boys. I know it was a hard-fought season. It's a tough loss, but, I mean, you guys left it all out in the field, so it was pretty great.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Hey, thank you, Coach Connor. Oh, man. I'm being joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself. Somebody I usually get to talk to on Fortnite. It is so weird being on the opposite side of the screen from you. You have no idea.
You're right.
This makes me very uncomfortable. Like, something is wrong. I feel like we need to like musical chairs switch or something. Coach Christian, man, how are you holding up, brother?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. I just wanted to come on here and thank you personally. Thank Coach Maddie personally, who's off camera. Thank you guys
Coach
so
Maddie.
much for coming in and casting and just making Overwatch a lot more enjoyable.
I'll be honest. Both of us were sitting up here just geeking the entire Kings Row match. We were like, oh, man, it's so good, dude. We're like, what is happening? Yeah, it was awesome. What a fantastic time.
Absolutely.
I mean, what a fantastic, again, not happy that we got knocked out in semifinals, but to end this season on such a cool match and such a tremendous back and forth battle. I mean, listen, top 10 anime moments of all time.
Absolutely.
Like, come on now.
I couldn't agree more.
Again, I want our team to win, but I cannot be upset about the quality of game I get to cast.
Absolutely.
So, Coach Christian, again, a heartfelt thank you to you for all of your hard work on the production team, to all of our new production interns. Woo, production interns.
Thank you, production interns. Thank you, production interns.
We pay you in exposure.
I don't know where they're at, but
they're doing
thank you,
something.
production interns.
I think one of them, I mean, that's our production.
Yeah, one of them.
We have one. Oh, yeah, they're doing
there.
something.
They're
Get production interns sitting there playing Candy Crush on their phones.
They're in their own world.
And see, this is why we pay them in
completely
exposure.
Lost. You just can't find good help anymore.
You just can't find good help.
You can't find good help anymore. All right. Well,
Coach Christian, are we signing off? Is
yeah,
that it?
absolutely. With that being said, you guys tune in tomorrow for some first time ever actually casted by my ugly mug, Apex. So Apex will be in the final 2 drops of the season, going in as strong favorites. So we will be live. I will be casting them, so tune in for that. And then Thursday, we will have some very intense semifinal Valorant. So obviously looking forward to that. And of course, you guys will have to deal with me for that as well. But
and not to mention as well, on Wednesday, the Fortnite team is competing for our banner as well in both Division 1 and in Division 2
How could I
group
forget?
stages.
I
well,
apologize,
I mean, you
Coach
are
Kyle.
getting to cast away Apex Legends,
True,
which, like,
true,
yeah, that's
true.
also pretty exciting.
True.
And low key, I think we're all rooting for Coach Connor to get for Coach Jonathan to get the banner. That has been a long time coming. So I'll
absolutely.
be honest, I'm kind of excited for Apex too.
Absolutely. All right, but everybody, from myself and I believe Coach Kyle and Coach Maddie and every other coach in here and